Perikanan dan ekosistem perairan memberikan kontribusi penting bagi pembangunan termasuk di kawasan Asia Tenggara. ASEAN telah muncul sebagai penghasil ikan global sebagai hasil dari pertumbuhan pesat aquaculture dan armada penangkapan ikan lepas pantai yang besar. Universitas Brawijaya dengan bangga menyelenggarakan kegiatan tahunan simposium Asean-Fen ke-7 yang diselenggarakan di Kota Batu tanggal 7 hingga 9 November 2017. Tema dari simposium ini adalah Projecting ASEAN-Fen plus for supporting sustainable aquaculture, fishing, and aquatic ecosystem. Simposium ini fokus pada inovasi baru dan mendiskusikan isu-isu yang muncul pada aquaculture, perikanan, dan ekosistem perairan untuk sinergi antara pembangunan sosial ekonomi dan perlindungan sumber daya alam dan lingkungan. Simposium dibuka oleh Dr. Asep Prihanto selaku Ketua Pelaksana, Dr. Sasmito Jati selaku Wakil Rektor 4 Universitas Brawijaya, dan Ketua Asean-Fen Profesor Dr. Sukri Haji Sameng. Pada simposium ini hadir sebagai pembicara Profesor Diana Arifiati dari Universitas Brawijaya dan Profesor Emeritus Dr. Patrick Surgelos dari Ghent University Belgia. Berikut liputan selengkapnya.
Welcome to IFS 2017. Before we are going to the next agenda today, we wanted to invite to you to say thank you very much to our God because of His blessing and His mercies, so we can attend together in this conference without any troubles and obstacles. And it's a good time to see all of you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prasasti Aditya, and my partner for today.
My name is Devi Rahmawati.
It's a wonderful and precious change for us to become your master and mistress ceremony in this beautiful event today. Until tomorrow, in November 2017, in our big event, International Fisheries Symposium 2017.
present Dr. Asep Awaludin Prihanto to deliver an opening speech.
Firstly, I'm very impressed with all of the representatives and also the participants, because the most impressive is this symposium will be attended by 581 participants for more than 13 countries from ASEAN, Asia-Pacific, and also several from Europe. And I also proudly to deliver you that almost all the oral presentation and also the registered manuscript. We have several publications, namely one is IOP's Corpus Indexing Proceeding, and also Journal of Ocean University of China. And those two partner publishing is our international partner publishing. And also we also have several local partner publishing, Journal of Fisheries and Proceeding, Exofen, and many more. As in the history of Asean-Fen Fisheries Symposium, this is maybe the first time that the fisheries conference related to fisheries conference and also the symposium that are held in the mountain, not in the near of ocean or marine. But looking at I'm thinking about the weather, about the temperatures, about the air, that everything is so fresh. And I hope that this will be more, give you more confidence to explore your idea and to disseminate your research or everything. And also thank you for all of the committee, local committee and also international committee. Your participation is very, very I appreciate it, because not all of you is give a hard work. And also the last is all of us participants. And if you find any inconvenient matters, please forgive me. And we still try as best as we can from 1 year later. So until now, we still try as best as we can to serve you the best international symposium in fisheries ever. So hopefully you have a great symposium. Thank you very much.
Harapan kedepannya IFS ini adalah karena annually, jadi kegiatan tahunan dari ASEAN-Fisheries Education Network. Dari tahun ke tahun kita tambah member, sehingga saya harap ini akan semakin membesar dan menjadi simposium yang paling terkenal yang ada di dunia. Karena sampai saat ini kita bisa mendatangkan 600 yang tercatat, tetapi yang datang ini 580 ini saya kira sangat luar biasa untuk sekelas simposium internasional yang dihadiri juga oleh 13 negara dari ASEAN, Asia, dan juga Eropa. Ya, selama ini kalau kita pengaruh bagaimana untuk mempengaruhi perikanan dunia, justru saat ini akan kita bicarakan, karena ini adalah ke-7 kalinya kita melakukan ini dan sekarang adalah ronde ke-7. Sehingga kita sampai saat ini juga sudah bisa menggait kerjasama dengan Eropa, Eurostep, dan kali ini mereka juga akan mengadakan meeting khusus tentang bagaimana perikanan keilmuan ini, riset-riset di bidang perikanan kelautan ini yang sudah sangat banyak sekali, tetapi aplikasinya kami rasa masih kurang. Sehingga mereka ingin mendiskusikan dengan kita, Asean-Fen dan juga Eropa ini, untuk menghasilkan metode yang paling efektif untuk mengaplikasikan riset-riset di bidang perikanan ini langsung ke masyarakat bawah.
course, it's a great honor for me again to be here with you at a very beautiful city of Batu, Malang, Indonesia. International Fisheries Symposium. This is, if you remember, this is the 7th International Fisheries Symposium organized by a network of friends. Started in 2011 in Kuala Terengganu, Malaysia, hosted by University Malaysia Terengganu. Then they growing up, later on moving to Canton city of Vietnam. Then we moved to Pattaya, a big city of Thailand, Surabaya, Indonesia, Penang, and last year we were in Phuoc, and today we are here at Batu, Malang. This is our journey, long journey in academia. ASEAN Fisheries Education Network actually is a network of friends, as I told you earlier, where we loosely form a platform to run this International Fisheries Symposium at the beginning. Later on, growing up, we officially formed the administration structure 3 years ago in Surabaya. And the first board members was formed since then. And our MOU, where we had presidents, rectors, and vice chancellors of members universities come together and sign the MOU in Penang, hosted by USM and UMT 2 years ago. So now we are here with 22 universities as core and associate members, with 3 other universities from China, Ocean China University, from Japan, Hokkaido University, and another university based in Thailand, Asian Institute of Technology. Today, apart from running International Fisheries Symposium, we extend our hands to our counterpart in Europe. We are working together with European counterpart under Eurostep project hosted by European Union. We started early this year. So this IFS will also have a session for Eurostep where we have friends from Europe coming here and organize a workshop together. On top of that, we extend our hands to work closely with China, particularly Ocean Institute of China. We organized a President Forum this year, and last month, some of our staff from the members universities went to China to join a workshop run by OUC. This is part of our movement, and I believe that we'll be growing up as Southeast Asia is the major producers of the world fish. About 30 to 40% of world fish are from this region to serve the world. So today I would like to thank the organizers of this International Fisheries Symposium. And I believe that this symposium will be one of the most successful events for us. And I would like to introduce as well that this year we introduced another very interesting measures to promote the Southeast Asian fisheries and aquaculture, where the board starting to have our Outstanding Young Fishery Scientist Award, which will be announced shortly after this. So with this, I would like to thank again the organizing committee and hope this IFS will be the most successful one. Thank you very much.
Asean-Fen is a short name of the ASEAN Fisheries Education Network. It's a platform of the universities in Southeast Asia teaching in fisheries and aquaculture. all universities in Southeast Asia they're teaching in fishery and aquaculture, we form a network. This network called Asean-Fen. So our main aim is to set this platform as the middle part, medium, to bring together the scientists, students from Southeast Asia particularly, as well as around the world, to come and work together, meeting together and share their knowledge. And on top of that, actually Asean-Fen, after actually 3 years of officially launch, actually before Asean-Fen, we work loosely as a network. So we organized this International Fisheries Symposium, first time in Malaysia, 2011, which is 7 years ago. And from then, we are growing very quick and very fast. We have more members coming in and more activities. One of our activities, for instance, now we are having a double degree program between the members of Asean-Fen in fisheries and aquaculture. Some co-research going between the members of universities, and we expand our network to Europe. We are working with the European counterpart under Eurostep project, which is funded by European Union. And we also work with China, particularly Ocean University of China, to organize a workshop, in particularly for, at the beginning is for the capacity building together between China and Southeast Asia to promote the aquaculture and fisheries in this region. And apart from that, we have a colleague, a member, we call plus member from Japan, the Hokkaido University, joining in. So for Asean-Fen now altogether we have 25 members, and even today we have application for becoming a new member from some universities as well. Actually, our main aim is to maintain fisheries and aquaculture, so sustainable aquaculture and fisheries in Southeast Asia, because Southeast Asia is the main part of fish production of the world. About 30 to 40% of fish production are from this area. So we are something like the fish production of the world apart from China, so Southeast Asia. Then when Southeast Asia and China, we work together, so we are almost more than half of the fish production are from our region. So we want to maintain this, and this is very important for the world as well, because in Southeast Asia we have a very good geographic position. We have good weather for producing many types of fish. So in terms of our contribution to the world, not only to Southeast Asia, but to the world, is very significant. Without this kind of collaboration, we may lose somewhere. So with collaboration as a network, so we can learn from each other, we can develop each other, and we can strengthen our academic, our research, and our outreach, and our trading or whatever relevant to fisheries and aquaculture sectors.
And also, as a Vice Rector of Brawijaya University, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for Dr. Sasmito Jati.
For me, as Vice Rector for Brawijaya University, this moment I think is one of biggest hosting of international conference. So please give applause to the organizing in Brawijaya University. Because as I know, there is more than 13 countries already come here, and also more than 500 people selected. I think it's one of what we call it special event for us. And also, I'm also surprised because today, this morning, Andy-san said to me, this organizing committee funding from my pocket, because this program belong to Green Campus program. I almost forget it, that the program is funded by our program, from the Vice Rector for Planning and Collaboration. This is the first. And then it's very important for us that the organizing committee sits. Malang is mountainous area, but you know Indonesia is islands. Even you go to from Batu here, not more than 1 hour, you can reach the beach. Because if you can look this, sorry, maybe a little bit long speech. You can look this country. Yeah. Indonesia is the country with the largest beach in the world that we can reach by sea.
So open together this event by hitting on 3 times.
Okay, on behalf organizing committee, I officially open International Fisheries Symposium.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to International Fisheries Symposium 2017.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have 1.5 hours on presenting, and we will divide for the 3 times. The first, Professor Surgalos, we have 50 minutes to presentation, and then next to Professor Hugo, and next to Professor Diana, and after that we have discuss for this. Okay, for the first, please, Professor Surgalos, time is yours.
Good morning, Assalamualaikum. It's a pleasure to be back with the IFS meetings from the previous years, and first of all I'd like to congratulate Dr. Asep and his team in organizing this conference. I'm also complimenting Dr. Sukri as the chairman of Asean-Fen. I think you can be very proud of what you have accomplished over these years in bringing all these young people together, exchanging ideas, looking into opportunities for collaboration. And this is exactly what I will try to document and explain here in my presentation. So I will briefly cover what I consider to be the 3 important pillars in university cooperation, and then focus on what are, in my opinion, the priorities that universities, just like in your ASEAN-Fen, should address to meet the challenges of aquaculture. Okay, so I think it's well known to you that the 3 main pillars of university cooperation are education, research, and very often we are not considering enough outreach. Let me briefly mention that when we are talking about education, we have to look into what are the needs, what are the learning outcomes. And that means that we need to interact with the employer needs, that we need to interact with industry. Universities cannot be considered as just ivory towers where we have all the knowledge and that we will generate new knowledge. We need to interact with society, learn about how we can all the time improve the skills, and that in fact this is not just a one-time event, it is lifelong learning. that we need to consider. And also look into new educational opportunities, interaction with the students, one of the topics that will be addressed tomorrow in the Eurostep workshop that will be organized here. Inter-university cooperation, I think this is an open door. Just the way you are cooperating here in your Asean-Fen is a very good example where you look into inter-university cooperation. Looking into mobility, and of course there are financial implications, and that's where we should also see together where there might be opportunities to look into that. See how curricula can be harmonized. That means that then there are opportunities for credit exchange, where you can look into joint programs, double degrees, and tools for transparency, because when you have such an exchange program, your system needs to be transparent, needs to be well documented for all parties. And education, and this is something which is really new in worldwide university cooperation, it needs to be research-based. For too long we have seen that education and research was in fact in separate institutes. In many countries you have the universities for education and the research institutes where the research was done. Today, if we want to organize at the university good education, it needs to be research-based. Research-based, and of course then the research needs also to be looking into what are the priorities for the country, how can it be relevant for society. It needs to be multidisciplinary, and we should also look, and this is something where I hope that also Asean-Fen in the future will look into, how can we develop joint IP? How can you look into patents? How can you look into further applications of the research that you develop together? Outreach, I repeat, for too long universities have just focused on education, good research, but not enough considering that this needs to be brought to the community, and that there we need to look into proper extension services, and where we need to interact also with vocational training, polytechnics, so that the university is doing an effort to see that the new knowledge can also be applied in the sector. That does not mean that university staff now have to take over the extension services from the Department of Fisheries, but that there is a good interaction and that the new developments in science are properly exchanged with the extension services. Tech transfer initiatives, universities should look into what are the opportunities to interact with industry, set up joint ventures, and see how things can be applied. And finally, talking about outreach, we have to see this also in a political context. How can universities interact with society through policy making? When we think about environmental issues, when we think about identifying proper areas for registration for aquaculture, this is where universities should also interact with the authorities. So let me now focus a bit on what are the priorities for the years to come, and where should the universities focus on when we see that we are in fact heading for very big challenges. Aquaculture is a success story, we know, but we have to realize that the pressure on aquaculture for the years to come will further increase. We need, if we are following the latest information from FAO, in the decade to come we need to produce 50% more aquaculture products per year. This is a big challenge. This does mean that it cannot be just business as usual and we will expand and we will further intensify. We know that there are quite a number of limitations when we think about the issues at stake, think about the disease problems, the environmental impact, overall sustainability. These are issues that we, the universities, need to address. And when you see this picture, you might say, oh, we can sit back and relax, look at the very successful development of aquaculture. I think many of you, even as university staff, know that we still face a lot of challenges. Many of the cage farm projects, be it in freshwater, be it in brackish water, be it in the marine environment, reach eutrophication levels, reach harmful algal blooms with massive mortalities. Not only in small artisanal aquacultural activities, but for example, the picture that you see here is mass mortalities in the salmon farming in Chile a year ago. Same when we are talking about the intensification in shrimp culture. We have gone to the limits of intensification. And people started to realize, was it the white spot, was it the Vibrio parahemolyticus? We need to look for better biosecurity. Maybe we have to work in huge greenhouses, as a picture you see here in a farm in Vietnam. And many of you, the countries of Thailand, Vietnam, China, realize that in the past years, lucky enough, we see that there is a revival, and I will come to it in a moment, but there have been massive losses in shrimp farming due to mainly vibriosis problems. And when I say mass mortalities, I will express it in US dollars.
Okay, my contribution here to the conference was to explain about the three pillars, the three main activities, main responsibilities of the university. And that's in education, that's in research, but also in outreach, in how to serve society. And in the field of aquaculture, universities now have a big responsibility because there is a lot of pressure to expand aquaculture, to produce a lot more in the future. Why? Because fisheries is stagnating, the population is increasing, and as the people have a better income, they spend more on seafood. So we need to develop an aquaculture that is also environmentally sustainable. So that means that some of the practices that we are applying today that result in a lot of diseases, that we need to look into alternatives. So I gave some examples on how you can integrate intensive shrimp farming with tilapia and with seaweed, and this way make a more ecosystem-based aquaculture. So I'm very confident, and with Asean-Fen and all the partner universities, there is a lot of good research, there is a lot of good exchange between the universities in Indonesia, in Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam. So that will help to develop improved aquaculture for the future. We are no longer in a time where one university in Thailand can say we are the best in the world. No, you need cooperation, you need to have exchange of students, researchers, and I think with Asean-Fen and this IFS meeting, you give a very good example on how to develop aquaculture for the future.
Next presenter, please, Professor Diana. Time is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Malang. Welcome to Batu. I would like to share my survey that is about mollusks, about oyster. Oyster in East Java. In my home. This is East Java. My survey from north area to south. Yes. The length of coastal East Java is about more than 2,000 kilometers. And oyster, one of the favorite sort of foods. Some area in North and Southeast Java have different characteristic coastal. So they can be inhabited different type of oyster. Yeah, the IMIS want to know the kind and based on morphology. This is the characteristic of South Coastal. The beach is steep, directly facing ocean Indonesia and relative high wave. It has a coastline length approximately 800 kilometers because it borders with Indonesian Ocean and condition always dynamic. The coast mostly has rocky mountain barrier and coral reef at the sea. This is a south coastal, and then this is a north coastal. The coast Java northern part is non-descending basin oligomesian periods. In the northern of East Java, there are two basins, Kendeng and Rembang Basin. North and east coastal area are generally used to marine transportation, nature conservation, marine cultivation, tourism, and fishermen settlement. In the south coast, we found three kinds of oyster. There is Glomerata, rock oyster, Rhizoporai, and Virginica, that is mangrove oyster. Based on the district, we can make a three cluster like this. Banyuwangi is eastern, Malang in the middle, and Pacitan and western of Southeast Asia. They are Crassostrea glomerata. And in Jember, close to Banyuwangi, special is a Crassostrea virginica. And the Trenggalek, because more mangrove over here, I found Crassostrea glomerata and Rhizoporai. This is a kind of oyster. These two. This is a phenogram from the tree. I found three clusters. Cluster A from Pacitan, Trenggalek, and Banyuwangi. And then cluster B, Papuma, it is from Jember and Malang. Then cluster C, Banyuwangi, Trenggalek, and Trenggalek. So in the south coastal, we can just form three clusters of Crassostrea. Yes, this is the phenogram. This is the distinguished feature. The outer shell is white, pale green, and dark green. Outer color shell, white, green. And then the inside, white, black spot, and white, brown, like that. A deep shell color, white, black spot also, and white, brown. And the shape is round. This is round too. And then the shape of muscle trace, crescent moon, like this. Then oval and round. The color is clear brown and black. brown effect too. That is from southeast, and now from north coast. North coast, I find 5 species: Crassostrea iridale, Rhizoporae, glomerata, and cucullata, and one of Rhizopora mangle. This one, glomerata is rock oyster, and others is from mangrove oyster. Lamongan, Tuban, Gresik, Pasuruan, Probolinggo, and Situbondo, all of them has a mangrove, but some place has a rock. So, different oyster over there. This one, Crassostrea iridale, Rhizoporae, then, cucullata iridale, like this. And I found one kind, I don't know what name, this one, from Situbondo. From phenogram, I found 4 clusters. Cluster A from Lamongan, Situbondo, and Gresik. Then cluster B, Tuban, Lamongan. Then C, Lamongan, Pasuruan, Situbondo, and Gresik. Cluster D, dominated by oyster taken from Pasir Putih, that is Situbondo and Tuban. The distinguished oyster, outer shell color is white brownish. Deep shell color, purple, white, purple, spotted, yellow exterior shape. The shape of outer shell is round. From muscle trees, black purple, purple redness, and muscle motion from is oval. This is the outer shell, white brownish. And then the deep shell, white spotted yellow, and purple wine. This one is, I don't know the name. This is purple redness and black purple. Muscle motion from tapering is oval. Yes. Now conclusion. Oyster found in the north coast of East Java includes Crassostrea iridale, Crassostrea cucullata, Crassostrea glomerata, Crassostrea rhizoporae, and Crassostrea mangle. And one, I don't know the name. And from the coast, south coast, I found 3. There are Crassostrea glomerata, Crassostrea virginica, Crassostrea rhizoporae. Yes, thank you for your attention.
Itu komoditas yang banyak di pantai dan harganya relatif mahal gitu. Kemudian disukai oleh orang karena rasanya juga enak gitu ya. Terus kemudian tiram ini bisa dijadikan sebagai indikator global warming. Jadi kalau dia kena air terus-menerus mati, nggak pernah kena air juga mati karena binatang pasang surut. Nah makanya saya sampaikan berapa jenis sih yang ada di Jawa Timur. Ternyata di utara sama di selatan itu lebih banyak yang di utara jenisnya, karena yang di utara lebih banyak daerah mangrove, kemudian yang di selatan lebih banyak yang dari daerah berbatu. Nah rupanya tiram yang dari daerah berbatu belum termanfaatkan, yang selama ini lebih banyak termanfaatkan itu yang dari mangrove, yang di situasi mangrove. Nah tiram ini binatang pasang surut, jadi harus setiap hari harus terkena air pasang, harus terkena air surut. Jadi kalau pasang terus dia mati, suruh terus dia mati gitu. Jadi seperti itu saya ingin ini dieksplor, banyak dimanfaatkan gitu supaya bisa menambah variasi dari makanan kita, variasi sumber protein juga pendapatan. Nah, saya kira seperti itu.